All right, everybody. Hey, welcome to another episode of Tech Tip Tuesday, the very first one for the spring equinox. Everybody, hopefully you guys are tuned in and turned on for the springtime. Yesterday was that even split, right, between the daytime and the nighttime, kind of balanced out. I love it. My name's Ken Close. I am a Healy World member, like most of you guys, electronics technical engineer, and experienced Healy user for quite some time. And I'm your host tonight, and I am joined by Jake Barron, who is our head of operations for Americas. Hey, Jake, how you doing?
Hello, Ken. Hey, everyone.
And we have a special guest, a new guest on our back office.
Yeah. We've got one of the newest members of our tech support team, Dong Ni. She's actually our first ever English Mandarin bilingual tech support member of our team. So we're very, very happy for her to be on our first Tech Tip Tuesday. So thank you, Dong Ni, for joining us here on the call. And for those of you that didn't know, we actually provide tech support. We have members on our team. We can cover English, Spanish, French, and Mandarin. So whatever language you speak, we should be able to take care of you.
Right on. That's awesome. Well, welcome. So everybody make sure you give her a really amazing Tech Tip Tuesday welcome. So she'll be in the background in our chat helping you guys out. So you guys that are new, well, welcome first of all. And let me tell you a little bit about what we do here. This is a chat-based forum where you put your questions in the chat, and Jake and myself and our tech support in the background will do our very best to unlock the mysteries of what's going on with your Healy. What we do here is talk about the technology. We talk about the apps. We talk about the function. We talk about some pretty deep stuff sometimes too. So don't be surprised. What we can't do and what we don't do is we don't talk about how to treat, diagnose, prevent, or cure any disease, disorder, or dysfunction within the body using the Healy technology. That's just not what we're here for. We are also really don't cover much in the back office. So let's keep it to the subject matter of the technical stuff and how to run your Healy. Does that sound good? You ready to get going, Jake?
Perfect. Let's go.
All right. Wow. Chat's already lighting up. So let's get it started. By the way, hello, a bunch of people from Canada. I'm seeing our group, Canada.
Welcome.
Welcome. Okay. So Sasha's asking, where could I find a detailed description of each program? Well, I love this question already. I'd like to learn in depth about each program and to know when to address each of them. For example, what's the difference between hormonal balance under bioenergetic support and hormonal balance under meridians? Or what is the difference between the sleep programs, etc.? The manual included with the Healy app and the Analyse app is very limited information. Yep. So there is more information. There's 40 plus pages of information, right, within the owner's manual. But let me also, before we get there, let me go a little bit into some of the program pages for a second, because as you see, the bioenergetic harmonization or support pages versus meridians or chakras, we're talking about different areas within our being, within our existence. And when we talk about meridians, these bodies are a plethora of meridians, some as small as a couple of cells wide that are throughout the entire body. So that's a whole nother modality in which Healy addresses the human form or the biological form. And then, of course, the bioenergetic support. When we talk about bioenergetic, look at the two words, is the biology in an energetic format. So every cell within your body, every molecule is an energy sense. It's all things, in fact, are energy. The only thing that separates them is their vibrational frequency. So whether it's a skin cell, bone cell, brain cell, whatever, the molecular basis is still a frequency. And so we're looking at the bioelectric, the electrical body, and the energetic body with Healy and speaking to it in in language of magnetics, and even more specifically, electron flow. Okay. So, Jake, you want to talk about what these awesome resources are?
Yes. So there's actually, of course, they already mentioned they looked through the Healy app manual, and, we have, I think, 300 plus programs now. So, of course, we would love to be able to write a detailed description of every single program exactly going into, but we're a global company. We operate in, 50 plus countries, and there's certain things that we have to be in compliance. We have to say, we're limited in what we can say about some of these programs. So that's why the descriptions are limited. So, again, we understand everyone wants to know more and learn more, but one thing you could check, if you haven't, I know you mentioned you've gone through the Healy app manual, but there's also another document. It's fairly new. Actually, it's from this year. It's called the Additions Overview, which has some more details about the individual program groups themselves. Maybe not necessarily each of the individual programs, but as Ken mentioned, the reason why some of these program groups exist in the first place. So if you go to your back office and go to, it's under the presentations section. But if you go there, it's called the Additions Overview. And this is, if you're not familiar with it, let me just share. Hold on a second here. Let me go back to where I was, and I'll share with you what I'm referring to here. Okay, back. So this document here is available in back office, and it's new, and it goes through kind of each of the additions one by one, and it talks about the Healy, of course, and then the different modules, and it goes into details on each of the gold cycle, what that actually is, and then there's actually studies here that go along with each of those programs too. So it talks about some of the studies that have actually been done on the Healy itself, and as Ken was talking about earlier, kind of the reason for bioenergetic support. There's a coherence study. Then it goes from the gold to the holistic to the resonance, and again the bioenergetic harmony 1 and 2. So this is, I don't know if this is going to get you exactly what you're looking for, but if you have not checked out this document yet, it's definitely worth downloading and looking some more into, because it's got great content, and this is a newer document in the last month or two. So
yeah, and of course, again, within your back office, there is the user's manual, which is it's several pages. Now there are some descriptions there of each program. May not be as in depth as you're looking for, but remember, it's key that I know as some of the science part of us want to know a deeper understanding of like every single frequency, but there is a kind of a bridge or a space in which we try to stay compliant. I think that some of us who've used the Healy for quite some time have experiences where the Healy has done some pretty amazing things, and yet we can't really broadcast that really. Some of these studies are helping us, and we'll just keep getting better. I mean, this is one of Marcus's missions in life, is research. So that's why he has so many quantum physicists. Okay, so let's see what's the next one. Somebody's asking about my Healy necklace. This is, and Doc's familiar. We were in Orlando last year, and there was a team there that had some things, and we were able to get. But so Doc, he's on the call here. He's got one also. Right place at the right time, I guess. So there's more things coming. All right. Let's see. What else do we got, Jake? Let's see. Debbie's saying, I have an issue with a new Healy 2 on my tablet. In other words, the new Healy app, I'm assuming the Healy 2 app on the tablet. Keeps saying no internet connection, but I am connected. I have uninstalled and reinstalled again. Same issue. So again, the app, she's talking about this one right here, folks. It's above my shoulder. This is the new Healy 2 app. And when you load an app on your device, it's going to ask you some questions. Some of those questions are about access. So access to what? Well, various components to your tablet or smart device. In other words, utilizing the camera, utilizing cellular data, network data, and things like that. So making sure that you've given permissions to all those. Let's see what else. You've uninstalled it and reinstalled it. Okay. So same issue. Jake, anything you want to add to that?
I mean, if they've uninstalled it, installed again, make sure that the pop-ups that come up while you're installing it again, you agree to each of those things that pop up there. If you decline them or don't give access, that it could be one of those issues. But other than that, that's not really a known or common issue, I would say. With
when you uninstall an app, it doesn't matter if it's Healy or any other app. When you uninstall it, make sure you shut your device off, your smart device all the way off, power it down, and then turn it back on, because you want to make sure and clear all of the connecting points between the app that you just deleted and any of the peripheral systems on your smart device. So you want to shut all that down. So turn your smart device off and then back on, and then go back to your app store and reload things. But yeah, as we said, make sure that you're giving permission to the app. Just trust that it needs these particular permissions to function properly. Okay. All right. There's a question here. Is there a retrofit for broken clasp? Mine just separated at the hinge point. So if we're talking about the original casing, which has a plastic clip on the back and a small spring-loaded pin-like device that holds the clip in place, as long as the cabinet or the casing of the Healy, where the two holes where that pin would go into the casing and hold fast, as long as those holes are okay, you can get a new clip, right? And put in a support ticket. If that's what you're talking about, then if the cabinet has been damaged, you'll need to replace the Healy hardware. And you can do that, again, putting in a support ticket. You can actually get a new Healy hardware. It'll be the new style with the metal clip on the back, but you'll get a whole new Healy hardware. You don't have to pay again for whatever edition you bought, but the Healy hardware itself, it's like the whole kit. You can get that for, what is it nowadays, price-wise?
$365, I believe, for the new hardware.
Yeah. Okay. And you'll get the newest style. When I say style, metal clip, as well as the most latest firmware version 229, which there was some revisions done. Anyway.
And also a new 2-year warranty as well.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. So a question here about the sticky pads. Can sticky pads be used instead of bracelets for systemic programs? Yes. So she finds that it's more convenient putting the sticky pads on the upper arms rather than being bracelets on the wrists. Yep. And you can also, I mean, again, it depends on the size of your arm. You can move those wristbands up on your arm and connect them there. But yes, sticky pads, you'll notice this in the app. In the app, when it's showing you to run systemic programs, it shows those little dots on the wrist, right? And we've just kind of superimposed the wristbands and those dots as the same kind of application at the wrist location. When it is acute, or in other words, it's designed to be local in terms of stimulation, then of course the picture shows it being somewhere else on your body with those sticky pads, right? But yes, systemic programs, and let's differentiate the two. Systemic means system-wide. So in other words, you're going from, say, wrist to wrist. You can go around ankle to ankle. I mean, that's doable. Just don't walk around with those cords hanging from your ankles. But that is systemic through the entire system, through the entire body. When it is acute applications, it's going to be something that's going to be local in space somewhere, maybe brachial plexus, the upper thoracic, lower cervical spine, or mastoid bone, that kind of area where it's applied to the head, or local pain, shoulder, wrist, elbow, knee, whatever. Okay. Anything you want to add to that, Jake?
No, that's great.
Okay. All right. What else we got here? Let's see. So Kelly's asking, with HealAdvisor, can I name and save each program schedule so it's easy to get back to? Save and name. So naming a schedule?
Yeah, you can't rename. I mean, you can, if you do a search and you add that program group, that pre-populated program group to your IMF schedule, you know, it'll stay in your IMF schedule section. You can just run those programs. You can set reminders to run those programs as well, but you can't actually rename that program. And again, we mentioned it earlier, but that's for compliance reasons as well, that you can't rename the programs that are in there or refer to what it's for.
Yeah. Okay, so our tech guru is back there talking to Dora about, should everything in the Blue Dot app be available in the Healy 2 app? And that answer is no. When you purchase a Healy edition, it's going to have a certain number, and Jake mentioned earlier, like there's over 300 individual programs now within Healy. And whatever edition you purchase is going to have a grouping of those, right? With the edition, associated with the edition, whether it's the gold edition all the way up to the professional. And all of the Healy microcurrent programs will show up in the Blue Dot, but not vice versa, because only the microcurrent programs that are in your edition will show up on the Healy 2 app. That's on purpose. It's on purpose because the microcurrent, I mean, you're paying for an edition with a certain number of program groups. Okay. All right. Where are we? Here's one. I love this one. My natural cycle worked okay yesterday. Today has a new date of start at 6/21/23. How do I get back to the 21st day? So we were actually, Doc and I were talking about this. So getting back now, Jake, you did a Healy for Beginners and Beyond. We did that, what, in May?
Yes, it's been almost a year now on that.
Last year in May, we did some training on that and on the natural cycle. And there is a reset. I mean, you can start over.
Yeah, really, it's not a great solution, and it doesn't always work. So it's sometimes there's no way to go back if you accidentally skip forward or something happened along the way. You know, if it's before the next cycle has begun, then if you delete and reinstall, it'll start back at the next start date. But if you're in the middle of it, right now, at least that I know, there's no way to delete, reset, and go back to where you were along the way there. So that's, you know, certainly something, you know, feedback for the product development team as far as making that a little bit easier to use. But I have seen some people sort of be able to change the time zone settings in there to possibly do some sort of workaround, but not if you're in the middle of it. But today was the trigger date, so I could, during this call, I can see if that workaround actually works. I don't, but yes, that is feedback that I'm sure the product team will improve upon in the future.
Yeah, the cycle, I mean, we're not going to change the rising and the setting of the sun, nor the date that things are happening. But the natural cycle, operates, again, right along that circadian rhythm. Uninstalling the app and reinstalling the app and re-logging in. Now, sometimes you can just log out and log in, but again, this is something that, I mean, Doc and I were kind of playing with this earlier.
Yeah.
If you log out and log back in, it may completely reset that entire, this whole spring solstice block and start you to another one. So, uninstalling the app and reinstalling the app is one option. I don't know though.
Doesn't work.
Didn't work, Doc? Okay. So this is some great feedback though, because there's a lot of promotion on the natural cycle, and and so giving this feedback within the customer service portal, there's suggestions you can make in there.
Yeah.
So definitely make some suggestions. But that content, you guys, even though you're not having a problem, but if you make suggestions, that content still gets logged. So it's worthy of your time. Okay, Debbie's back saying, yep, gave all the permissions to the app. I'm assuming we're still talking about the Healy 2 app, this guy right here. And it apparently cannot still link to the internet or Wi-Fi, and it worked fine on the phone. Okay, so your tablet, now let's make sure one thing's clear at first here, is that there is a minimum operating system for Healy to function on any device, a minimum operating system. So with the tablet and the iPhone, I believe it's version 11 or OS 11 and above. I have a tablet that is older and only runs 10.6, something like that. So my Blue Dot or the HealAdvisor, HealAdvisor and the Resonance don't work that great. My Pink Dot, the Healy 2 app, still works fine. So, so some of your hardware, depending on its software version, could be the limit. Make sure that your hardware is fully updated. What operating system is it on right now? And is it fully updated to the most current? And then, of course, since you uninstalled and reinstalled the app, you should have the most current version of the app. Now we're looking at current software on both hardware and app. And then the rest is essentially, with that tablet or that iPad, are you able to do online functions? In other words, just because you have the little fan at the top of the screen and it's got all the bars under the Wi-Fi signal doesn't mean that you have data transfer. All that means is that from your tablet or smart device to your router, your wireless router within your facility, your house, wherever, all that means is that you've got a radio signal. Doesn't mean you have data transfer. So we want to make sure that you're actually able to do any kind of internet activity on your smart device. Okay. All right. Where are we? Okay. A friend bought her Healy from someone has been running it on demo mode. I don't think that the transfer was done. How can she now set up her Healy account so she can put in a ticket? So this is a great question. In fact, I just had this conversation earlier today. So people who are purchasing a Healy outside of the shop page from someone else, every Healy out there needs to have a Healy account. A person needs to have a Healy account within Healy, right? And that account is it's gonna give them access to whatever edition they've purchased. Now, if they didn't purchase a Healy, but yet now they have an account, and then they purchased a Healy outside from a private party, they're gonna need to make sure that Healy from the private party is assigned to their account. So you have to have the account first, right? This is your individual login account, loginable account. And then you're going to need to make sure that the device you purchase is assigned to that account. And that takes essentially a double function. One is that the person who sold it assigns it to your account. And then, two, that of course that the person that purchased it has this Healy account. Okay, does that make sense? And of course you can't put in a ticket into the Healy system unless you have a personal account. Okay. So Jake, you want to add anything to that?
No, that was good.
Okay. It's a bit of a process, and customer service is familiar with this. When you're working on getting
it's if you submit a ticket, they'll certainly get back to you. Typically, if it's not your device and it hasn't been transferred to you, they'll get back to you and say the request to be transferred has to come from the original owner. And really that's a security reason. If someone steals your Healy or you lose it, whatever, they pick it up, they can't just be like, hey, Healy, I have this device, please give me access to it. It's assigned to your account. And unfortunately, not everybody goes through the proper steps when they do transfer or sell a Healy, but you can certainly submit that request to the team and they can point you in the right direction of what would need to be done.
Looks like there's other people having a May 2023 automatically set up when they set their natural cycle. I wonder, so customer service, is there anything you guys can do from back end?
There's not.
No. Okay.
Not at this time, at least.
All right. Well, our tech support guru is back there magically giving some content. So, okay.
So this question, is this from? Yeah, I guess it's the same question from. Is this the one you were talking about earlier, Ken? From Debbie, her Analyse app won't open on either her tablet or phone.
It was the
Healy
Analyse
2 app, right?
The Healy 2 app was saying that no internet connection.
Yeah. For the Analyse app specifically, she said she hasn't changed anything since December. I'm wondering if she has a VPN possibly on her home network, because that would prevent you from being able to connect to in sync with the Analyse app. So if you do have a VPN running on your home network or on your device itself, try turning that off and then try to connect again, because that will definitely prevent you from connecting to the Analyse app.
Yeah, so these security measures on some of the Wi-Fi networks or home networks definitely prevent things from accessing. So want to make sure you're giving proper permissions. And if you didn't set up your securities on your home network, who did? Find out who did, so you can get clearance from the Healy apps. Okay. So Toby's asking, this is to Jake, can you explain how Healy can offer a subscription to 3 of the MagHealy categories? Would you use the subscriptions on the original Healy as opposed to purchasing a new MagHealy? Not sure what that means in terms of, because when you get a MagHealy, you get all the apps.
So maybe let me just try to provide a little bit more info. Of course, probably you've seen the communication that there's a new model coming, or not model, there's a new business model where you can subscribe to individual modules in the MagHealy. So if you have a MagHealy now, you have lifetime access to all 4 modules. If you buy one now, there's an amazing promo going on right now. MagHealy is over $1,000 off, which is the lowest price it's ever been and the lowest price you'll ever see it at for full lifetime access. But in the coming months, there's going to be this new model where you can still pay full price for the MagHealy and get lifetime access to all the modules, or there'll be a lower priced entry point where you get the classic module for your MagHealy for lifetime. And then you can subscribe to any of the other 3, 1, 2, or all 3 modules extra and pay for those on a monthly basis. That's essentially what the new subscription model is. You'll have the option of doing that. So if you only want 1 or 2 modules, then you can get the MagHealy at a lower price. And if you want to switch from month to month, okay, this month I really need the MagHealy module. You can kind of add that one on for as little as a month at a time. So there's a little bit more flexibility there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so next question. When you run a search program and it provides a list of pertinent apps, is there any significance to the order? In other words, is the first one, does it have more significance? So when you run from the HealAdvisor Search module and you put a keyword in, and then it comes up with various groupings there, there's going to be a priority order. So here's the top group, right? You go into that, you click on it, and it opens up the number of programs that are within that group, right? And so yeah, there is a pecking order, I guess you might say. Okay. Okay, let's see. Maria says, I came in late and said you could purchase a Healy for like 350 or something like that. This was a replacement, a replacement hardware.
Yeah, if your Healy breaks and it's outside of warranty, if you lose it, that kind of thing. Yeah, you can submit a support ticket and our team will guide you through the process to pay for that replacement. It's actually done through our regular shop, the replacement process, and during that process, it deactivates your old device and creates the new one, and you can pay for it through the Healy shop just like you would any other order.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. I had a direct question in the background here. It says, is there a way to use the HealAdvisor app and only get responses with programs you have? Yes. Yes. So under the section of MagHealy in there, so at the bottom of your screen, when you go into the advisor, there's some icons and buttons at the bottom of the screen. And so there's a settings tab. You go in there and you can customize essentially that search function in regards to, say, what you have, right? Like, the different version you have. So it'll only give you programs within your resource page, resources. So yeah, you can do that. Go in there and you can't break it. So go into the HealAdvisor, and at the bottom of the screen, take a look down there, and there's some little icons down there. The far right one is a little gear, kind of your settings tab. And if you look at, I don't know, I'm not looking at it right this minute, but you can go in there and customize things.
Yeah, you go to settings within there and then click on program groups, and you can check and uncheck each of the individual programs that you have available on your Healy device. And that's actually, when you first set up your HealAdvisor Search module, it does ask you the first time to pick which programs you have. But if you need to change that, if you're using a different device, possibly that has more or less programs, you can change that within the settings and then program groups.
Mm-hmm. And there's a tab that says Your Healy Edition, and that's going to have where you customize that kind of stuff. All right. Okay, so Maxwell's saying that I have downloaded the beta resonance app. Awesome so far. In the coaching module, you used to be able to rename the coaching analysis. And so it said, I regularly run multiple coaching focuses. I do not see it. Or how can I rename these? All I see is the date I created the analysis. Is it possible to rename the analysis I created? Good question, because
That's
I'm
a,
still playing with it.
it's a good question. I have not got to that particular question before, but it's something that we'll look into and see if we can get an answer on that for you.
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm still playing with the beta model or app as well. It's great.
It's amazing. Yeah, I know we mentioned on one of the prior Tech Tip Tuesday calls that the Android beta test was out there, but for those of you that missed it, the iOS beta test is out there as well. There was an email that went out, and that one's open to everybody there. So it's worth it's worth trying out, because it's amazing, and we'll be testing it over the next few weeks in preparation for the big official launch in the near future.
Yeah, it's great stuff. There's so many more expandable tabs. I mean, essentially each thing is kind of expandable and gives you the opportunity to kind of see, well, what does this mean? How many guys have ever wondered what that percentage means? Well, now it expands and gives you more content. Okay, let's see. So Sasha's asking, how is the content that shows up after running the resonance analysis being created? The way it's laid out, who writes the content that comes from the information field? Just curious. Okay, so Healy, and let me give you my one sentence description of Healy. All right. So Healy is a bridge between the quantum field of information and the biological and physical fields of matter. And the way it does that is essentially there is a technical component that really takes into account consciousness. I mean, to be honest, it's swayed by our state of being. And so then based on that, and the choice of your database, it finds answers, bridges between the client, you, and the database information, whether it be hundreds or thousands of bits of information. It builds a bridge, and that bridge, it's done at the speed of light. So in other words, there's so much content that it's just it's amazing what it shows. Who writes that content? Well, this is the Healy team. I mean, if there's things within that content that doesn't make sense, or that you don't understand, of course, put in a ticket so that there's more refinement. But that's kind of the way it works. I mean, there's a lot to it in terms of how that analysis works. It's an analysis engine using an AI system. Okay. Anything you want to add to that, Jake?
No. Yep.
Okay.
Well, this is a good question related to the natural cycle, and if you missed the start date, or the start date got messed up and you're too far along. So it's, can I continue the process of vibrating the programs even if the date is incorrect, or do I need to wait till the next cycle? So if you have the module, and actually if you know somebody else that's in your same time zone, whatever, and they have the natural cycle module, you're gonna be run at the same clock as the same. It's not gonna be different for you, because it's based off the meridians there. So you could continue, if you know what you're supposed to be running at that time, just go ahead and run those programs and follow the protocol of running the program, running the stability program, drinking the water before and after as well. Along the way, of course, it's not the experience that we should have with the app, but that's a possible workaround if you know what you should be running, to go ahead and continue to do it.
Yeah, it's all based on circadian rhythm. So circadian rhythm it varies based on your time zone, right? And the hemisphere in which you live. So that if you've got someone in the same time zone, they're on the proper schedule or rhythm, you could just copy what they're doing. And if you, on the pink dot, you have the module or the program group. And so you just say, hey, what program was mentioned for you? at what time, and you run it. So these are just ways of aligning us with the earth, the rhythm of the planet. And Nuno does a great job of doing some of the training, again, to try to put your body into a rhythmic understanding with the planet. And if your body is in different cycles, then these frequencies help to align you, right? It's how many people don't go to bed when it gets dark, or wake up when it gets light, or follow specific rhythms of our solar system. Most people don't. So this is kind of helps your body align to it. All right. Let's see. So here's one. I sometimes use the Coil with the animal programs on my Maltese, and he doesn't like me to put the apparatus on him. How high should I set the intensity on it? It does flow the frequencies as well as I would. Wait a minute. It doesn't flow the frequencies as well as I would like it to, but I don't put it over 50%. Can I set it higher, or until I see the flow run smoothly, since I'm using the Coil? So the Coil, you can set the intensity to whatever you want. Now, if you're using your pet, if you're using it with your pet, pay attention to your pet. If your pet becomes agitated and disrupted and seemingly anxious, back off, because your pet. So pay attention to that. Animals tend to be a little more aware or susceptible. So Coil, what you're doing when you're running the Coil, you're taking the current that would normally come out of the ports that would normally go down the wires, you're converting it into magnetic energy. Instead of microcurrent energy, you're converting it into magnetic energy through the Coil. And then it's being transmitted into the environment. And the frequencies themselves will not change no matter what the intensity you're setting it at. The frequency is set by the Healy program, whatever program group you're running. The frequency is set, and it's going to change based on what the app tells it to do. Now, it's the amplitude that you have control over by setting the intensity plus or minus, right? And if it's 50%, the amplitude is 50% of the max possible. Okay. 100%, it's 100% of the max possible. So you're just playing with amplitude. You're not playing with the frequencies at all. You're just increasing the amplitude or the power of the frequencies. And with increased amplitude, increased range. So you're going to send that out a bit further. So pay attention to your pet. No different than you'd pay attention to your own body. All right. Let's see. Is there a link to the meridian chart that Natural Cycle uses? Is there?
Yeah. So let me, here, I'll show. Well, it's part of the flyer. So if you go to back office that we were referring to earlier, sort by flyers, and then you'll see there's a flyer called Natural Cycle. If you just go to download that, you'll see here on page 2, there's a little bit about the Natural Cycle on the first page, but if this is what you're looking for here, I think, it shows you each of the 2-hour increments and which one that correlates to there. So,
yep, there you go.
There's also this chart's also shown in the Natural Cycle training video as well. So if you haven't checked that one out, it's available, I believe, on our Vimeo page, and then I think also on the YouTube official page.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. All Let's see, where else we got? What else we got here? Are we caught up?
I'm not. I haven't gone all the way down to the bottom yet, though.
All right, let's see. I should try. Well, here's kind of a question about should you try to run natural cycle at the first time as the first start, or should you use the meridian chart to choose the runtime based on your needs? So so two ways of looking at it, right? The natural cycle, and Nuno Nina talks about it. It's funny, one of his conversations is like, I think we look at this too analytical. But looking at, are you in reduction or are you in oxidation? Because there's certain things that you should promote during those two stages. I mean, if you're in reduction, you're probably not going to want to increase energy or try to work out aggressively, right? There's certain things you want to stay in a more, keep things more down regulated. So this information helps you to understand where you are based on some of these cycles. And then Healy, based on the Advisor app, is trying to promote what programs and actions and activities you should do. Take a look at the cycle within your demographic, follow that chart and run that chart. I would highly recommend that you be the experiment yourself. I do this all the time. So in other words, how do you know which one is going to be more effective for you? Because you got 100 trillion cells sitting there doing something different than me. So if I find that following the chart in some of that planetary rhythm is better, and the next time I run it using the HealAdvisor natural cycle, and then I can compare the two. But again, your body is going to be your experiment. And it's funny because Nuno doesn't really say, because he's the expert and he doesn't really put a lot of limits on you. Right? I've never heard him say, do it this way. I have heard him say, pay attention to your body. Let's see. When we use the Healy Blue app on a pet, I already did this one. Didn't I? The only program is Healy Animal, correct? Or, oh, no, I didn't do this one. Okay. When we use the Healy Blue app, or the Resonance app on a pet, do we only use the Healy Animal? In other words, there's a group of programs just for animals, correct? Or all the Healy programs also can be used. So again, what I said earlier, this is a bridge between the quantum field of information. If we put our pet in as a client, we did a thing on Healy for Beginners and Beyond about quantum entanglement. And the Resonance is a full-on quantum entanglement device. So the client and the content about the client, the information that the Healy's asking for within that client record is important, because that's the information it needs to find an exact GPS signal for that client. Or instead of a global positioning, it's a universal positioning. It's a quantum positioning. So now we have just that client and all the coordinates around them. So your pet is a client, and all of the content sets that pet aside from everything else. And then when you do an analysis, whatever database you choose is going to find frequencies within that database that align that pet to its highest and best version. So whether it's just the pet frequencies, or it found some frequencies within Gold Cycle or or Gem Elixirs or whatever database you've chosen. It's going to do its best to align the frequency possibilities with the client for alignment. Okay. So you don't necessarily have to use the animal ones. Okay. So Isabel is saying what she does as far as posting the session schedule in her Telegram group and then sends text to those in all the same time zones. That's cool. That's awesome. And she also says, well, you guys are reading the chart, right? Or the chat room. Hopefully you got to see that. Thank you guys, by the way, for your assistance. I love it. How are we doing, Jake? Anything you see in there?
Yeah, I'm trying to go back up a little bit here. There was a question. Oh, there was great feedback from Debbie. Couldn't connect to on the tablet or the phone with the Healy 2 app or the Analyse app. She turned off the VPN and able to connect with both. So great. Yeah, if anyone else is having some sort of issue where they suddenly or for whatever reason they can't figure out why they can't connect, have them try that, turn off that VPN and see if that helps fix the issue. So
yeah,
but very happy we're able to help out.
Yeah,
I know that can be frustrating for sure.
Awesome. So Beth has one here that I missed a bit ago. Can you use the Aura program on animals, places, vehicles, etc.? Sure. Everything is energy, and the language within energy, everything being energy, is magnetic wave. It's a magnetic energy. It's everything is held in balance by positive and negative charges, north and south poles. Everything is held within a perfect balance within the entire universe. And so the Aura system is no different. It uses light energy. And by the way, it's looking at the light energy aura within the field of view, or the plant or the animal or the vehicle or whatever. So including the earth, everything has an aura or a root, or let's say a foundation, all the way to a spiritual creation. There's that entire range. And within the traditional aura systems, it's using light frequencies or color, and the slowest frequency of light is red, or even below the visual range is infrared. So that's below the visual range though. But what we can see, the very first frequency of light is red, and then goes all the way up the scale to the fastest frequency of visible light, which is purple. Or if we go beyond the visible, that's ultraviolet. So we can't see that color, that violet purple color. But again, it's like if you guys have seen a rainbow, you know what I'm talking about, right? Because the perfect light is the source, or the sun. And then when you slow down that perfect light, that white light, into to any speed that's visible, it's going to be a color. Red being the slowest, violet or purple being the fastest. Okay, so everything is we can analyze things. And if you find a being, an animal, plant, a person, and their root or their foundation should be red, and there's other colors there that's being found within the auric scan, that means that some other presence, such as say blue, which is the throat area, some other presence is within that root that could be stuck there. And we're maybe not feeling safe within our voice or within our expression or within how we interact. And so that color is showing up. So anyway, all things can essentially be evaluated in that regard. Play with that. I think it'd be fun. All right. 5 minutes
Another
left.
question from earlier on related to the beta testing of the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app. was how long are we supposed to use it for? And are they just going to stop it, or will they delete the old one? So this is going to be, if you're using it on iOS, if you actually go into the test flight module, which is how the beta test works through there, you'll see that it actually expires on June 13th. So there's a period of time that you have access to that app. It could end earlier than that, but this is going to be very similar to how things worked from when we switched from the Healy Pink Dot app to the new Healy 2 app. Both of them are still out there. So it's not going to be something where, you know, next month or in May or whenever the actual full version of the new Analyse 2 app launches, the other one's not going to just go away completely. They'll still be there both for a long period of time. You know, eventually at some point in the future, I'm sure it'll stop being supported, but we're a long ways from that. But use them if you're loving the new app, continue to use it. Just keep in mind there's also a survey function. If you've used it for a week or two or whatever already, make sure you click that survey at the very top of the main screen. When you log in, there's an option to click. You click the To Survey button, it'll take you to a survey, and you can provide all of your feedback that you've gathered so far from using it, because that helps us make any small changes before the actual final version is released.
Yeah, just like we still see these two apps here on each of my shoulders, Pink Dot and then the new Healy 2 app. Yeah, it's there's a bit of a transitionary period where I don't know how many people I say that I've heard saying I like the old Pink Dot. Well, switch over. You'll get to like the new one because you're using it. You'll get to like it. All right. Okay, couple minutes, lightning round. What do we have here? Let's see. So let's see. Well, there's one, maybe a comment here. Debbie said, sorry if this was addressed earlier. Analyze now working, but all suggestions are for MagHealy, and I don't have that device. So if you've done an update on your Blue Dot app, this one here. So in other words, you logged in, you ran a synchronization, full synchronization. Should pull all of the databases into that app and then allow you to do scans based on whatever database you choose. Now, remember, these are databases, your choice. You choose a database, whether it's some of the MagHealy database content or Gym Elixirs or all Healy programs, whatever. So if it's only showing up in terms of MagHealy content, something's not updated.
Yeah, but even if you don't have a MagHealy, you can still vibrate those programs within the Analyse app. Just like if you don't have a watch, some of the results that might come back say run this particular program, and you can vibrate those within the Analyse app. You can't run them in the Healy 2 app, but you can do so within the Analyse app.
Yeah, remember that Analyse app, the Blue Dot app, has access to everything. And so when you're running those into your client field, it's your client, whether it's you, a pet, a place, whatever it is, whoever the client is, and you've chosen a database, you've done an analysis. Now you have a group of programs from whatever database resource you used. Remember, it chooses the top 5 items within that database. And if it's Gym Elixirs, the top 5. If it's all Healy programs, the top 5. Now, when it says programs, this is program groups. Within each of those top 5 groups, there are several programs, up to 12, right? Up to 12 different programs within each one of these groups. So if you want to know exactly which is the top program in the top page, then you're going to need to go back to find each of the 5 top programs within each of those 5 pages. Okay, this is what I call a recipe. Creating a recipe. So in other words, you've done a scan, a resonance scan, using the database called all Healy programs. All right. That is all 300 plus programs, but categorized within a page. So it nets you a result of the top 5 pages. So list those in that order, the 100% one all the way down. List them, write them down. First one is natural cycle. I mean, not natural, but gold cycle. Next one is fitness. Next one is bioenergetic 1, whatever it is. List those. Then go back and do an analysis on each one of those pages. The number 1 page, do an analysis. It will net you the next top 5 programs on that one page. Now you're getting a priority list. Okay. I think we talked about that, didn't we, Jake? On
yeah, we did. Yeah.
We did. We talked about it on Healy for Beginners and Beyond, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. All right, guys. If you don't know where to find those resources, it is on the YouTube page, which is called Healy Americas, right? It's our YouTube page.
HealAmericas.com.
Healy Americas, there's an S at the end, .com. And that'll take you to the YouTube page. On the YouTube page, there's a different playlists. We have the What's Up Wednesdays. We have the Tech Tip Tuesdays. We have the Healy for Beginners and Beyond. There is some great support from the tech department on some different things. So go there, explore. Everything is hyperlinked. In other words, you can look at the drop-down information menu underneath each one of those videos, and it'll give you hyperlinks with content, what was covered in that moment. So go there, have fun. All right, guys. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, tech support. Yoo-hoo.
Yeah, thank you, Dominique. Appreciate it.
See you again, right? I hope so.
Yeah.
Hope so. So enjoy your night, everyone. And we'll see you for now. Have a good day. Bye-bye.